All right, today we're going to do two lessons. We're going to do lesson 20 and lesson 21 in one video. They are very similar in that we are going to divide two and 3-digit dividends by 2-digit divisors with single-digit quotients and make connections to a written method. 21 does it a lot of division with 2-digit dividends. So we'll see a lot of 2-digit dividends. So sorry about that. For example, 78 divided by, say, 14. They'll do a lot of 2-digit dividends by a 2-digit divisor. That's a lot of 20. And then when we talk about 21 moves into more of the 3-digit dividends by 2-digit divisors. But as you see here, it says single-digit quotients. Now, single-digit quotient just basically means we're going to have one digit in the quotient. So 14 goes into 78, let's see, 5 times. So that's a single digit. And then we would have a remainder of 8. Now we are doing remainders right now. We're not there yet to where we're doing decimal division. But I believe even in the decimal division right now, we're not going to work out problems in anywhere past the thousandths place, since we only work until the thousandths place. So just right now, we're going to be doing 2-digit dividends by 2-digit divisors with single-digit quotients. We're going to have remainders. And before we go over any of this, let's remember our steps to dividing, which are our first step always is we're going after we set up the problem. So again, 78 divided by 14. First step is divide. Can 14 go into 7? No. Can 14 go into 78? Yes, we said 5 times. So our second step, so first step, divide. Second step is going to be to multiply. So we're going to multiply 5 times 14 to get our answer, or what we are going to subtract from, and we got 70. So 78 minus 70 is 8. Third step was subtract, which I just did. Fourth step is to bring down, if we're able to bring anything down, but there's nothing here, so we can't bring anything down. Fifth step is to repeat or remainder. And we have nothing to repeat, so we have a remainder of 8. All right, so let's work on some of these problems. Let's see. Lesson 20 homework, divide then check with multiplication. I'm trying to get the students to understand. Yes, we're going to check, and we check by doing divisor times quotient plus remainder. Now, I know over here it shows a little differently, but if we get them to remember this, when this is not there for them to look at it for an example, then they'll at least know what they are looking for to check their work. So, as we see in A, let's follow their steps. So step 1 is divide. So did they divide? Yep, 31 goes into 72 2 times. They divided. Then they're going to multiply, which is the second step. Did they multiply? Let's check. 2 times 31 is 62. So yes, they multiplied. Third step. Subtract. Did they subtract? Yep. 72 minus 62. 10. Fourth step. Did they bring down? Well, they have nothing to bring down, so they brought down nothing. So nothing is brought down. And then the final step was... Step 5 is remainder or repeat. Do they have a remainder? Yes, they have a remainder of 10. So they got 2 remainder 10 as their answer. And then they check their work. We need to remember in a division sentence. Let me change that back to black. In the division sentence that we know exactly what each part represents. So 72 is our dividend. 31 is our divisor. 2 remainder 10 is our quotient. And why is this important? Well, sometimes they'll be asked, find the quotient, or given the quotient and the divisor, what is the dividend? So they have to be able to work forwards and backwards with division. So, and that's another reason why I use the words, trying to get them to learn that vocabulary. So I do use the words a lot, and to make them be able to flip between the two. Because in math, if you find out one equation, you can just use that equation backwards or move it around. We'll still learn more in the higher math. But for right now, yes, I like to make sure they know what each part represents, even in the brackets, what they represent. So for an example, in our first problem, I like them to understand what the divisor is, which is 31. What the dividend is, and what the quotient is. This will help them understand which one's being divided, which one's the answer, and which one is doing the dividing. And I believe that's very important for them to understand, so that once they learn that vocabulary, they're able to switch between the two and know what they're doing. So let's try C and E. So we have 94 divided by 33. Almost said 38. So we have 94 divided by 33. Now, if we do the estimation that we did in the first couple lessons in topic E, if we do the estimation, we could say 30, and we could think, okay, so how many times does 30 go into 94? Well, we know 30 times 3 is 90, so we can try that out. So 33 times 3, we get 99. Well, that's too many, so let's do one less. So 33 times 2, that'll give us 66. 66 can go into 94. So let's work it out. So we said 2 times 3 is 66. We're going to subtract that. We have to unbundle the 9. So we get 14, 8. So this right here is going to become 28. So we have 28 as our answer, well, as our remainder. So let's go ahead and put our remainder up there. And now we have to check our work. So we check our work by doing divisor times quotient plus remainder. So 2 times 3 is 66 plus a remainder of 28. And that'll give us, let's do some vertical addition. 8 plus 6 is 14. Carry the 1. 7 plus 2 is 9. We get 94. All right, so is 94 our original dividend? It is. So we're going to go ahead and say that that is correct. So our answer was 2 remainder 28. So let's try that with E. E states 79 divided by 25. Let's write that in our bracket. So we have 79 divided by 25. Well, 25 is a little easier because we all know, just think of quarters. So how many quarters are in 79? Well, we know 75 cents is 3 quarters. So we can say 3. 3 times 25 is 75. Subtract that, we get 4. So we get a remainder of 4. And again, let's check our work. Divisor times quotient plus remainder. 3 times 25, 75, plus 4 equals 79. Our dividends are all the same. All right, so our answer is 3 remainder 4. Now, the students did pretty well with lesson 20. What was it, 3 remainder 4? It was lesson 21 that really got to them, but let me put the answers to the remaining questions. So we have 4 remainder 5. We have 3 remainder 10. And then we have 3 remainder 20. So these are the ones I want the kids to try out. The ones I didn't do. Let's look at the next page. We have some word problems. A 21 square foot bathroom has a length of 13 feet. What is the width of the bathroom? So these are one of those questions where we have length times width equals area. So, or you can say area equals length times width. So we can plug in to find our missing factor. So let's see. We have area. So area equals 91. Length equals 13. So we need to find width. Well, we learned that in multiplication and division are just opposites of each other, kind of like addition and subtraction. If you have one part of an addition sentence, you have the sum and one of the add-ins that you're able to use subtraction to find that other add-in. Well, that goes the same for multiplication. So we're given the product and we're given one of the factors. So what can we do? Well, we know that length times width gives us area. So if we have one part of the width, if we have one of the length or width, we're able to take it and divide our product. So 13 becomes our divisor, and we're going into 91. It's kind of like finding which multiple times 13 will give us 91. Well, I'm going to go ahead and guess on a limb because this is a 1. And then I know the only multiple times 3 that gives me a 1 is going to be 7. I'm going to say this is 7. So we're going to do 13 times 7. So 7 times 3 is 21. So 1 carry the 2. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 2 is 9. So it looks like I was right on that one. So we got 91. Now, how else could we do this? We can say we could have rounded 13 to 10. And said, okay, well, 10 times 9 gives us 90. So we could have multiplied 13 times 9. We could have got 27. So 7 carry the 2. And then we could have got 117. Well, we know that's too high. So we can go one less. Well, one less would be 13 less than 117. So that would give me 104. Still too high. So let's do one more less. Oops, sorry, I put that in the wrong spot. We get 91. So if we gone 2 less, that would give us 7 still. So let me erase some of this mess that I made. So we said 91. Well, 91 minus 91 is 0, so we do not get a remainder. So now we have our area. We have our width. We have found our width of 7. So now we have 7 times 13 equals 91. Well, how do we check that? What's 7 times 13? 7 times 13? Let's see, 7 times 3 is 21. Well, 2. 7 times 1 is 7, plus the 2 is 91. So that is correct. So our missing width was 7. The width of the bedroom is 7. All right. Now for the last two, we have multiple part questions. So while preparing for a morning conference, Principal Corsetti is laying out 8 dozen bagels on a square plate. Each plate can hold 14 bagels. How many plates of bagels will Mr. Corsetti need? So the importance here is figuring out how many is in a dozen. So you would find a dozen. If you don't know how much it is in a dozen, ask your parent, ask the internet, especially if you're looking on here. Remember how many is in a dozen. And then it's asking for how many plates. Well, first you need to find out how many you have, how many bagels you have total, and then you need to figure out, well, how can I figure out how many goes on each plate? It tells you how many goes on each plate, so now I got to figure out how many bagels are there. And then it asks how many bagels will be needed to fill the final plate. So if you find that the last plate, say, only has 2 bagels on it, well, how many more bagels do you need to make a full plate? Just find out how many bagels are on a plate and how many the plate can hold. All right, so let's see. Oh, this should be 7 feet, by the way. We are in feet, so we have, put those answers. So we have 7 plates. He will need 7 plates. Now they probably got in the answer 6, remainder 12. But remember, a plate can hold 14. So it's not like he's going to not carry another plate because it has 14 on it. So he should have 7 plates. But if they get this, it's all right. And then again, we have how many more bagels would be needed to fill the final plate with bagels. Again, we would just need 2 more bagels. All right, so let's go to lesson 21 real quick. 21, divide 2 and 3-digit dividends by 2-digit divisors with single-digit quotients. Again, I said that we're probably going to be doing more of the triple-digit dividends with still 2-digit divisors getting single-digit quotients. Now, this one will give us more than a single-digit quotient. Should have wrote something bigger than 23. So we're going to go ahead and just write 24. And then we'll have a remainder. So I can already tell you right now, this is probably a little less than 10, probably 9. Let's see, let's go ahead and do it. So 234 divided by 24. Again, 24 can't go into 2. 24 cannot go into 23. 24 can go into 234. Like I said, 24 times 10 will give us something close to it. So we get 240. What's one less? We would get 216. So is 216 appropriate? Let's find out. So that was one less, so that was 9. So we had 216, 9 times 24. Subtract that out. Gonna have to borrow and unbundle. So 14, 8. So I had 18 remaining. Again, single digit quotient, double digit, 2-digit divisor, triple digit dividend. Let's see what we're working with. And like I said, there's triple, triple, triple. Let's see what's on the next page. Triple and triple. So again, a lot of triple-digit dividends and double-digit divisors. All of them are double-digit divisors. But the good news is their quotient will still only be a single-digit quotient. So if the kids are really paying attention to that, that probably means that we won't be able to divide within just the first 2 digits. We're not there yet, so we're not dividing within the first 2 digits yet. So I'm going to work out one problem. Since this is very similar to what we just did on the other page, I'm going to work out one problem. So we have 37 dividing 158. 37 can't go into 1, can't go into 15, can go into 158. Well, we can round one of 2 ways. I'm going to round up to 40. So 40, what is close to 158 that 40 can go into? Well, I know my multiples of 4, 8, 12, 16. Well, if I add that 0 back on, I get 160. Well, what is my multiple? Well, if we multiply 4 times 4, we get 160. So let's see what 37 times 4 is. 37 times 4. Well, 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 3 is 12. I get 148. To me, that looks pretty close. Check to make sure I did my work right. 4 times 7, 28. Yep, carry that 2. 4 times 3, 12. Yep, add that 2 back on. So we're going to say 4 times. So 4 times 37. Let me move this out of the way. Keep that down there. 148. 0, 1. Nothing over here. Can't bring anything down, so we're going to skip that step. Put that remainder back up. So we get 4 remainder 10 as our answer. Now, the reason that I'm explaining the rounding is because we want our students to be able not to get scared that this is a double-digit number. We want them to think of rounding, then multiplying to find a reasonable multiple or guess or factor to multiply our divisor by, so they can work it more efficiently, more effectively. Again, we don't want them to get scared by the bigger numbers. Like we are doing triple-digit dividends, but we've been working on this. We've been rounding, we've been approximating. So this is something that they should be able to do, and getting there quicker and quicker is better. We can also skip count. We've done the skip counting. So 37, 74, and then we add 37 more. So 100, what would that be? 121? No, 117. 111. Sorry about that. 111, and then we add 37 more. then we get 148. Now, I like this way, but I also have some problems with it because of the fact, like I just did here, 74 to 111. Having to think about multiples of 37 in your head. They can also add. I've seen a lot of them add them together and keep adding. We just need them to be able to just count how many 37s they added. Do not count your sums. Just count how many 37s you added to get that multiple. Until they become able, like I said, we really want them to be able to round and then approximate. That's the biggest thing we want them to be able to do. Round and approximate. Is it 4 remainder 10? All right, C and D, we're going to get. For C and D, we're gonna get the same answer. 8 remainder 7. Let's look on the next page. I'm gonna work out E. So let's work out E. So 464 divided by 58. First step, can it divide? Nope. Can it divide in 4? I have 464. It can. Again, I'm going to round up to 60. What multiple of 6 is close to 464? Well, I know that 6 times 8 is 48. So let's try 8. So 58 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 4, carry the 6. 8 times 5 is 4. 8 times 5, hold on 1 second. Did I write this down right? 8 times 8, 64. Yep, 8 times 5, 40. 464. I do not believe I did this one right. What did I do wrong? Well, I did do this one right. I am looking at the problem set, so let me fix these real quick. These two are not right. These are the problem set answers for C and D. That is my bad. I could not figure out what I was doing wrong. I was looking at the answers, but they were the wrong answers. All right, so yes, so it goes in perfectly 8 times. So we don't end up with a remainder. So now we do the multiplication, then the subtraction, get 0, nothing to bring down for that 4 steps. So the 5th step is say the remainder, but we do not have a remainder, so we just get 8. And then finally on F, we have 8 remainder 8. 2 states it takes Juan exactly 35 minutes by car to get to his grandmother's. The nearest parking area is a 4-minute walk from her apartment. 1 week, he realized that he spent 5 hours and 12 minutes traveling to her apartment and then back home. How many round trips did he make to visit his grandmother? All right, well, again, this is a multi-step. Figure out what is important, what is not important. So it takes Juan exactly 35 minutes by car to get to his grandmother's. Okay, the nearest parking area is a 4-minute walk from her apartment. 1 week, he realized that he spent 5 hours and 12 minutes traveling to her apartment and then back home. How many round trips did he make to visit this grandmother? So we have to figure out how much just to the house. So from his house to her house. How much that is, because round trip isn't just 2, but it's also back. And now there's 2 steps in getting to her house. Then you have to, those same 2 steps are the way back. We also probably will have to change 5 hours and 12 minutes to something that can be divided by our units. Remember, we have to pay attention to what units we have. So this is a multi-step question. If we can get this question done, maybe you come in, you'll get a piece of candy or a dojo point. We shall see. But let's try to answer this question. Full sentences with all work shown. And, we'll have something for you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and just wipe off this page. That's all you can do for homework. There is one more question, but that's all right if you don't get to it. If you do number 3, it is 8. All right. Well, have a nice night. Remember, this is a 2-parter. All right.